Update. Am I the a-hole for putting in a claim to my late father's death benefit? Original post. Hi, I'm looking for advice. My father passed away on the 1st of March very unexpectedly, and obviously this has caused a lot of heartache. A few days ago, I received a letter through the post from a policy through his work where it was stated that my father's sister had put in a claim for the death benefit, as she was next of kin at his work. I am next of kin legally, and also would like to state for the record that me and my father had an excellent relationship. She never mentioned the policy to us, or wrote down on her form that my father did not have children, which it clearly asks, and instead sent the form as if she was his only relative. The company found out that I existed only because I'm the informant on his death certificate, and has asked if I wish to make a claim. I contacted my aunt about this, and she has doubled down and said that my father would have wanted her and her alone to receive this large sum of money, and has told me not to put in a claim. I am putting in a claim regardless, and told her this, and it has caused a huge rift with her family. So much so that a cousin contacted me and said that my dad would be ashamed of me for putting in a claim, and then went on to attack my autistic 24-year-old brother, telling him that my father would have been ashamed of him because he was unable to carry his coffin at the funeral. It just seems that this has gotten completely out of hand, and I along with my brother are being attacked over money. Surely the company wouldn't have contacted us if it were his wishes to give her 100%. Edit. I forgot to mention that my aunt said she received an email from my dad's workplace saying it was his wishes to give this money to her, and she had a signed document from him saying this. But when I asked her if I could see the document, she sent me a blank template of wishes from the company website which had no writing on it, no expression of wishes, and no signature from my dad, which is confusing. We also told her that we may not receive anything in the final decision, which we are fine with, but it potentially could be split even between me, my younger brother, and her. She wasn't happy to even consider it going 3 ways either. And that is where the abuse began from that side of the family. I just don't know, and this has been keeping me up at night with stress. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not a-hole. Your aunt's family sounds like a bunch of greedy a-holes. Do not let them bully you. Make sure you get the benefits that you are owed. Why would she even think she deserves it when dad has 2 children? Not a-hole. She is robbing an autistic child of her own brother? Her daughter sent my brother vile voice notes, telling him that my dad would be ashamed of him because he couldn't carry the coffin due to his autism, that he is lazy and should get a job when he can't work, and that he's a thief. It has made my brother so distraught that he is refusing to put a claim in, as he thinks my father hated him when this is not true. My dad loved the bones off my brother. Those words never left his mouth. All lies. My dad may not be here to protect him, but I am, and I'll always protect him. Nah, to hell with your aunt and cousin. Don't you dare split anything with these vile bastards. Put in your claim, get your deserved death benefits, and cut these monstrous vultures from your life. Your aunt made a dastardly and calculated move filing that paperwork, claiming he had no children, knowing she'd never get the claim otherwise. If the claim was meant for her, she would have been listed as a beneficiary specifically. Mini update. I phoned a company this morning and they have no record of an expression of wishes that my father wrote, only that she was next of kin at his workplace. So she not only lied that it was my dad's wishes for her to have this money, but she also lied that she received an email from the company stating this. The woman on the phone said, "You are his daughter. You have a right to make a claim." And also to tell my brother to put his claim in, which she will be doing now. Now for the update 2 months later. Hi everyone. I just thought I would give an update on the situation. My aunt put in a claim to receive my father's death benefit from his workplace in April behind our backs and stated that my father had written wishes for his money to go to her and her only. She said she had a copy of an email with a signature, signing over 100% of this to her. But when asked, she never sent us a copy of these supposed wishes. We later found out this was a lie. There were no wishes. And the only reason she was able to put in a claim was because she was listed as next of kin at his workplace. This caused a huge rift within the family and ultimately ruined relationships that will never be repaired. Even when we offered to split it 3 ways, she wasn't having it and doubled down on the fact this money was hers. Then her family began attacking us over social media. My brother and I received nasty abuse as we put in a claim. We're told my dad would be disappointed in us, that he would be ashamed, and that the payment was to go solely to her. My brother, who is autistic, was told he was disgusting for not carrying my dad's coffin, even though this emotionally would have destroyed him beyond repair. He was told he was nothing like my dad, and that my dad called him a crap son, which is a lie. He is an amazing young man, and my dad would have been proud of him for even being able to attend a funeral. And also for cutting his hair for the first time in 11 years to make our dad proud. I've reminded him of this, as these nasty words have stayed with him, causing him emotional turmoil thinking that my dad hated him. He is getting better emotionally now with support from me, my mom and close family friends, and realizes our dad had nothing but love for him. Well, after a couple of stressful months, I'm happy to say that my brother and I received everything, and she got nothing, not a penny. We have not split the money with her and will never speak to her again. My brother will live comfortably now and will be taken care of, which is what my dad really would have wanted. Thank you to everyone for the support in the original post who put my mind at ease and reminding me that I was not in the wrong. My brother, who is autistic, was told he was disgusting for not carrying my dad's coffin, even though this emotionally would have destroyed him beyond repair. You can always rely on family to invent new ways to bully anyone who doesn't fall in line. She's just evil. Stealing from the children of her dead brother. Stealing from her autistic nephew? It makes me sick and infuriated. I have an autistic nephew and cannot imagine stealing money from my brother's estate and cyberbullying them. My dad died last year and it was tough. I'm only 26, so I braced for the absolute worst family-wise because he told me how when his grandma/adoptive mom died, he finally got the courage to go to her apartment after months to find it trashed and empty. Her other family had gotten there before him. They assumed because she was living in a New York City apartment that she made a lot of money and had it hidden. They didn't realize he was the one paying for everything. They stole everything and trashed the place looking for hidden money, when he, not her kids, but her grandson was supporting her fully because she raised him. Can always count on family to be absolute vultures when someone dies. Horribly sad. Woof, money really brings out the worst in people, especially family. Why is it always family, god damn it? Is it the sense of entitlement that makes them so bold? People like the ants at least have the good grace to not go after a random stranger's money, sure, but it's not like this is really any better. It's always family because they have access to information about the inheritance and have more excuses to justify their share of the inheritance. Sad, but true. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to lend my sister-in-law money because she got the house I was expecting to go to all of us? Years ago, my wife and I moved back to live near her elderly parents. We bought a house a couple of streets over from them for about $300,000. When we moved back, we helped them with the maintenance of their house, including replacing the carpet, 2 AC units that totaled $15,000, appliances, and weatherproofing the house. In all, we spent about $75,000 to make their house more comfortable in the remaining years, with the understanding that once they pass, the house will be sold, so that we get our money back then split the rest of the money evenly between the siblings. When they both passed, we found out they left the house to my wife's youngest sister. The parents wrote a letter explaining to the siblings that the parents wanted to make sure that sister have a house because she would never be able to buy a house without their help. The rest of the siblings all had houses and were doing okay, so they understood and accepted the situation. I was livid because we poured money into that house, and now we're not going to get it back. My wife and I argued for weeks until I realized I had to accept the money as gone, or else my marriage would be ruined. Over the years, the price of houses increased dramatically in our neighborhood, and now our house is worth $1.75 million. Sister-in-law's house is also worth over $1 million, and her property tax is over $30,000, which she struggled paying every year. Last year, her husband was let go from his job so they couldn't pay their taxes in January. By February, they received a letter stating they were considered delinquent, and now they owe a 6% penalty fee and 1% interest in addition to the tax. On July 1, the penalty fee will increase to 12%. The problem is that all of the siblings had financial difficulties last year, so none of them could loan her money as they did in previous years. However, we're doing okay, so my wife asked me the other day if we could loan her sister the money. I said we poured enough of our own money into that pit and refused her request. Our arguments have gotten to the point where both shouting at each other. I know I can be petty, but I think I'm justified to not loan over $30,000 to a person who stole $75,000 from us. My wife doesn't want her sister to lose the house that they were raised in. Now for the top comments. If you pay the taxes this year, what's going to happen in all the subsequent years? They need to get that house on the market ASAP. She owns a house that's presumably fully paid off, unless she did something silly like get a mortgage on it and worth $1 million. She can sell it, downsize, and have a nice chunk left over. On the other hand, she lives in a house that is costing her $2,500 a month just in taxes, and she can't afford it. They clearly need to move out. Agree, downsize and invest the money for retirement. But there's the rub. They want to live outside their means and not have to downsize. Easier to take someone else's money. Your wife's parents screwed you by accepting the money you poured into their home. You screwed yourselves by not getting a legally binding agreement. You'll never see the $75,000 again. You either have to accept that or walk away from your wife. The current issue is that your sister-in-law obviously can't afford to maintain the house she inherited. It seems like her only option is to sell it and move. If any family members want to keep it in the family, then they can buy it from sister-in-law. But it is not reasonable to loan tax money to your sister-in-law. This would be my hill to die on. Actually, the parents screwed everybody. OP was screwed out of $75,000 that he invested in their house. OP's wife and other siblings were screwed out of their inheritance. The sister-in-law was saddled with a house she can't afford and is sinking into debt. Her other siblings won't let her sell it because it's our family home and must stay in the family. Now everyone resents everyone, so goodbye family ties. Next story. Am I the a-hole for cutting off my sister and her family after what her daughter said? I, 28 female, invited my sister, 40 female, and my niece, 17 female, over for a pool party that my husband and I were hosting. We had a few friends over and many brought their kids. For background, my husband and I don't have kids and are undecided on whether or not we want any, but always find something for us to do where our friends who do have kids feel included. Although we keep things pretty kid-friendly, we still always serve alcohol at our get-togethers. Nothing too crazy, just some beers and seltzers. My sister wasn't able to stay for long as she had work later in the night. I told her since her 17-year-old and her 12-year-old were having fun that they could stay the night, and I would take them home in the morning. She let them stay, and about 2 hours later, my 17-year-old niece tells me her mom wants her home and to look for a ride from someone else because I was drinking. I had only one drink earlier that day while setting up for the party hours ago. I let the girls leave with my friend since they lived in the same neighborhood. I texted my sister and confronted her why she asked the girls to look for a ride home. She then told me that my 17-year-old niece told both her parents that everyone at the party was smoking weed, getting drunk, and offering her both those substances, that she felt too uncomfortable to stay. It was a small get-together of around 15 adults and their kids. Nobody was smoking, and absolutely nobody offered her anything. Most of my friends had watched her and her siblings growing up, so it wasn't like they were strangers to my sister or her kids either. Everyone there had their kids who work in respectful positions, including myself. I work in law enforcement, and something like that rumor could cost me my job or even one of my guests' jobs or kids. My sister then told me that she doesn't think what her daughter said wasn't true, and that my niece even told her that my friends and I did nothing but talk bad about my sister behind her back after she left. Again, another lie. My brother-in-law then became involved and told me that it was no place for him to say who was saying the truth, as everything was all he said she said, and that is sorry that I'm upset. I was livid to find out that my niece would not be disciplined for spreading such rumors, and that they would even believe something like that. I was always the first person they would call to control any situation where my niece and her parents would be fighting or she would run away. They would call me to go pick her up because they couldn't handle her attitude anymore. So tell me, Reddit, am I the a-hole for letting my sister know that I will be distancing myself from her and her family? Not the a-hole, and I would not be alone with niece ever again. From the context, it sounds like the niece is a problem already. Running away, fighting parents. Yep, and the parents gave up actually parenting her long ago, or trying to solve her existing problems. Why didn't the parents ask the 12-year-old? They aren't an infant. If such behavior was taking place, surely the 12-year-old would be able to either corroborate the 17-year-old or torpedo her lies. Unless the 12-year-old is as much of a delinquent as their sister. Your sister and brother-in-law are being willfully blind and allowing their child to ruin relationships. Being in law enforcement, I'm sure you know if you can record private interactions in your jurisdiction without the other party's consent. But I wouldn't be around a 17-year-old again without multiple witnesses or video evidence. What a toxic little liar. Not a-hole. My guess is the 17-year-old threatened the 12-year-old. As a younger sister, I can pretty much guarantee this. Edit. Thank you all for your comments. We do have cameras in our pool area and I will be showing and sending footage to both my sister and brother-in-law. Also, they both work in law enforcement as well and do know what these type of accusations can do to mine and my husband's careers. Another detail to add is that they themselves have been contacted by the school for accusations my niece has said about them, and vice versa, where they had to contact teachers for something my niece accused them of as well. I understand being a parent and standing by your child's side, but they've had to deal with this situation before. Last edit/mini update. 1. My niece is in therapy and has been for a couple of years. It was suggested by her school counselor, and her parents found a therapist, and she sees them like once or twice a month. She has a really bad perception of therapy, as her parents say therapy does not work and is only for crazy people. And now she seems to have the same perception. 2. Not everyone in law enforcement is a cop. Lol. I work more in the clerical side of my department. I'm finishing up school to be more on the psychology side of things. Whereas my sister and brother-in-law work more hands-on with inmates. 3. I told my sister about the cameras and emailed her any and all footage from the backyard in front. She then told me that I was being overdramatic with the whole situation and that we all know her daughter lies. I reiterated how lies like that could cost me my job or my friends' jobs, and she said, "It's not like you have a real law enforcement job." She said that she doesn't feel like an apology is necessary. I didn't feel like fighting anymore and decided that no contact would be best for now. 4. Throwing this in here since it's on the same topic, I spoke with my brother, 26 male, about the situation. Growing up with 3 older sisters, he always knew how to stay out of the drama and always be neutral with all of us. He lives a state away and we don't have much contact besides the occasional "how are you" texts. I told him about the situation and asked how he would handle it. Come to find out, she did the same to him at my wedding about 8 months ago. My brother works with kids, and that could have cost him his job as well. My niece told her parents my brother was sneaking her drinks and they believed her, even though they were at my wedding as well. He said he went no contact after that, since he didn't think the drama was worth it as he lives a whole state away, and doesn't really come visit unless it's for Christmas. Which he didn't this past year, but we all thought it was because he had just been in town for my wedding.